טוב, At Hashem, we're Parashat Nitzavim Vayelekh. You can see there is a contradiction in the two words of the two names of the Parashat. Nitzavim means לעמוד במקום אחד, to stand in one place. Vayelekh means to go, right? So what exactly are you supposed to do? To stand or to go? So we're going to see. Yesh veyesh. Sometimes you have to stand in one place. It's in life, in learning, in a lot of things. Sometimes you have to stand in one place. Sometimes you would have to go, right? Certain places you have to go, right? So, for example, we can give examples for that, right? That you're learning, right? In the middle of the learning, you start to go, you take a coffee, you go there. No, when you're sitting down, Nitzavim. Atem Nitzavim hayom kulechem. Sometimes it says, Eve gole lemakom Torah. Sometimes you're in a place which is not Torah. So you have to go to Makom Torah. Eve gole lemakom Torah. Be'emet, I saw, they say, in Ashrei Yoshev Betecha, there's two psalms which start Ashrei. Ashrei Yoshev Betecha v'lo chasel. Ashram shekacha lo Ashram shel. It goes in alphabetical order, right? Ashrei Yoshev Betecha, bechol yemecheka, gadol Adonai mul almod, gadol cheka. There's another one, Kuf Yutet. This one is Kuf Memhe, and Kuf Yutet is the same thing. But over there it says, Ashrei timimei darech. Alchim b'torat Hashem, Ashrei v'nitzredotav. It goes after Bamei zakena torcho. It goes also after that. It says, what's the difference between the two? What's the difference between the two? Ashrei Yoshev Betecha, which goes in alphabetical order, speaks about somebody sits in the house of Hashem. Ashrei Yoshev Betecha. What is Betecha? Bet HaKnesset, Shul, Bet Midrash, sitting and learning. What's the last thing when you get to Taf? What's the last pasuk? Teilat Adonai yidבר pi v'varech kol basar shem kol shalom. You can say, you can praise Hashem. After you're going through the Aleph Bet, you can praise Hashem because why? Yeshve betecha. But when Ashrei temimei darech, when somebody's always going and walking and turning and going from here to there, what's the last pasuk? Ta'iti keseh. You get lost. You get lost. Nevat, ta'iti keseh. אתה רק יכול לטעות. אם אתה מסתובב כל היום, if you're just turning around, אתה תטעה בסוף, at the end, right? Some people are by nature like this. This morning I saw somebody by slichot. He couldn't sit 5 minutes. 5 minutes he wasn't sitting down. He got up, he got a coffee, he sat down, he looked at everybody. He finished his coffee, went to get a cup of water, and then he was standing there going back and forth. Just by looking at him, I got already dizzy. I said, I'm not looking at him anymore. ממש, הוא לא יכול לשבת 5 דקות. כן, ואתה לא מדבר על אחד שלו, אתה מדבר על אחד ש... you know, think about somebody serious, but he couldn't sit 5 minutes. אז אומרת התורה, רגע, אתם ניצבים היום, כולכם לפני השם אלוקיכם. אתה רוצה להיות לפני השם? אתה תהיה ניצב. Sometimes, וילך. אבל וילך למה? אומר האור החיים הקדוש, אור החיים הקדוש is asking a question. He's asking, Vayelekh Moshe. I spoke about by you. Vayelekh Moshe. Where did he go? Where did Moshe go? So he brings down Targum Yonatan ben Uziel. Alach lebet ulfana. Moshe Rabbeinu went to study. What's Parashat Vayelekh? Parashat Vayelekh is the last day of Moshe Rabbeinu on this earth, right? Where does he go in the last day? Where do you go on the last day?
The last day?
Bet HaMidrash. Yes. Vayelekh was the last day. Rashi says he went to all the Shiva. He went to Klal Israel. He was knocking from door to door and telling everybody, Ben 120 shana anochi hayom. You know how old I am? 120 shana. Lo uchad lo yatzev lavo. This is the last day. Shalom aleichem shalom. That's it. I'm telling you goodbye. You won't see me anymore. That's Moshe Rabbeinu. He actually went from 10 to 10 to say everybody goodbye. Right? Okay? But then the Yotam ben Uziel comes and he says, okay, ואחר שהוא גמר את הסיבוב, when he finished turning around, הלך, אתה יודע כמה you know how many tents he had to go? אבל זה משה רבנו, no קשה. לא נס לכו, he was still strong, he was still, his eyes, 20 on 20, right? No. אבל מה אתה עושה בסוף? Okay. He had to go to say goodbye from everybody. זה הענווה של משה רבנו, right? Normally they should have came to him. Right? אבל משה רבנו knew it's his last day. Maybe they didn't know. So he told them, Ben 120 שנה אנוכי היום. אתם יודעים, this is the last day. מי יודע מזה? Who could know that? Only him. No one could know that. So he went to tell them, that's it. I'm telling you goodbye. right? See you בעולם הבא. The famous story with the Gra. He didn't see his sister for 20 years, over 20 years, and when she came to visit him, 2 minutes, מה שלומך, how you doing, see you בעולם הבא. לא היה לו זמן בשביל אחותו, he didn't have time for his sister. He was learning, כן? אבל משה רבנו, he had to go to כלל ישראל, says the תרגום יונתן בן עוזיאל, and where does he end off? בית אולפנה. He goes to בית המדרש. The last day of his life, he goes to בית אולפנה. Comes the רמ"ק, רבי משה קורדוברו, one of the biggest Kabbalists, נכון? הוא היה בזמן האריזל, האריזל אמר שהוא נפטר, הרמ"ק, הוא אמר הוא נפטר בלי חטא. הוא אמר, הוא נפטר, he passed away בגלל חטא אדם הראשון. If אדם הראשון wouldn't sin, הצדיק הזה לא היה נפטר. No חטא, no, nothing. Not even nothing, כן? אז הוא אמר, כי ימות איש ותלית אותו על עץ. Right? Sometimes people die and they have no sin, so you know why he died? ותלית אותו על עץ. The מיטה is because עץ הדת. כך הוא אמר, זה ההספד שעשה אריזה על הרמ"ק. אומר הרמ"ק, he says something amazing. הוא אומר, imagine if Hashem would give us in our generation a chance to have תחיית המתים for 1 hour. Like, we find already something in Tanakh. יחזקאל הנביא, right? יחזקאל הנביא, הוא עשה תחיית המתים 30,000 איש, 30,000 people. He was wondering, תחיית המתים, how does people get up? Some people died 2,000 years ago, so basically they're afar, right? מה, איך יהיה תחיית המתים? He was thinking, וזה אפשרי, זה, השם קורא מחשבות, השם knows exactly what you think. הוא אמר לו, בוא, come. He took him to בקעת דורה, he took him to the valley over there, there was bones, כן? אמר לו, תדבר אל העצמות, you talk to the bones. עשה תחיית המתים, he made תחיית המתים, right? ואז he saw the bones get together, there's flesh coming on the bones, right, veins and everything. אומר הרמ"ק, what will be in our generation if we have a chance to see תחיית המתים only for 1 hour, not more than an hour. Those that got up in the time of Yechezkel, they got up for good and they were crying. Why they were crying? They said, if we got up בתחיית המתים now, what's going to be when Mashiach is going to come up? We're not going to get a second chance. They were scared, so they were crying. And Hashem told them, don't worry. You're going to live now, and you're going to live in תחיית המתים also.
That's a machlokes if he was.
Huh?
It's a machlokes if he was real.
If was?
It's a machlokes if he was real. The people. If he was real.
Kipshuto, the Gemara says yes. In Sanhedrin, the Gemara says it was. Right? So, בקיצור, מה יהיה? אומר הרמ"ק, if Hashem gives us a chance to have תחיית המתים in our generation, you know how many million people are going to run to the cemetery? Cemeteries? Oh, he has a father, he has a mother, he has a brother, he has a sister, he has a cousin, he has a good friend. כל אחד יצא לראות מישהו. או אנשים, few people, נכון? And you're standing there, and all of a sudden אתה רואה את הקבר עולה, right? וידעתם, אומר ליחזקאל הנביא, he says, וידעתם כי אני השם בפתחי את קברותיכם. You would know I'm השם פתחי. הקבר נפתח, you know how deep is it in the ground, cement, the grave opens, המת יוצא מהקבר, what does he say? חכה רגע, wait 1 second. אין לי זמן בשבילך, I don't have time for you. What do you mean? He says, I came only for 1 hour. Okay, I was waiting to see you. Yeah, but I have to go somewhere. איפה ילכו? אומר הרמ"ק, all those מתים, they're not going to even say hello, how are you, give a kiss. ירוצו לבית המדרש. They're going to run. You're coming down for 1 hour. You're coming down for 1 hour? Now that they already know in בעולם הבא what means 1 minute of sitting and learning, הם לא יתייחסו בכלל כל האנשים שבאו לראות אותם. They wouldn't care about all those people. And they waited so much. They were there probably a lineup. They knew it was going to be a lineup in the cemetery. לא, דוגמה.
It's an example.
זה דוגמה. אפילו לשעה, הם לא ירצו לדבר עם אף אחד. In the future it's forever.
It's forever, but still, they're still going to do the same thing. They're going to say hi.
No, because everybody's going to go down. Then everybody has to die for a few seconds or a second and get up. So כולם ימותו ויחיו חדש.
הוא הביא דוגמה שיבואו לפגוש אותם והם לא יוכלו.
בית המדרש. As we see that אין יותר טוב, there's nothing better than אתם ניצבים היום, לפני השם אלוקיכם. going and being in front of Hashem, right? This is the best thing, right? The person can be, right? It says also by Akedah, the Me'am Loez says the following thing. He says the Me'am Loez, it says, Vayelekhu shneim yachdav, Avraham Avinu takes Yitzchak for the Akedah, right? They go to the Akedah, Vayelekhu shneim yachdav, he makes him, he attaches him, and then after he says, no, don't, Avraham, don't touch your son. There's an aisle over there, נכון? Okay, the whole story finishes. מה כתוב at the end? וישוב אברהם אל נעריו, וילכו יחדיו אל באר שבע. Frag the Me'am Loez, I don't remember who he asked in name. ואיפה יצחק? Where is יצחק? וישוב אברהם אל נעריו. No, the pasuk should have said, וישובו אברהם ויצחק אל הנערים. כן? He says, מה הוא אומר? הוא אומר, אברהם אבינו שלח את יצחק אבינו לישיבת שם ועבר. אברהם אבינו send יצחק to שם, why? He's going to come home. עכשיו, הוא לא יודע ששרה passed away. He doesn't know. So his mother says, מה, אתה הלכת לעקדה? You went to the עקדה, you didn't tell me, you almost died, wow. Come, I have to make you soup. Come, I have to give you food. Almost you died. אברהם אבינו, לא, זה לא הזמן עכשיו. He has to learn Torah. מה עשה? He didn't bring him home. He sent יצחק אבינו לישיבת שם ועבר, אמר לו, לך שמה, תישאר שמה. Don't come home. Don't come back home. Right? אתם ניצבים היום. לא צריך. There's a famous story, there's a Rav, he came to Lakewood, there's a Rav, I don't know where it is, he came to Lakewood, and he went to the house of Aaron Kotler. So, the Yom Shishi, Friday night, as they were singing, Shalom Aleichem, Eshet Chaim Imtza, this Rav was staring at the how do you call this? The vitrina, where you put silverware, all kinds of...
Break front.
Break front. As the rabbi, Rav Aaron, saw. So he asked him, no, what are you watching? So he says, I see, according to Kesef, I see like cups, I see like chandeliers, I see like box of etrog, I see Chanukiah mikesef. ושם בתוך הוויטרינה הזאת, in this thing, היה זוג נעליים, ישן, very old pair of shoes. אמר לו, what's the connection? What's this shoes doing there? Oh, this is a whole story by itself. He says what? He says...
It wasn't Gucci.
Well, no. So he said, there was, in the war, the Second World War, right? The Rosh Yeshiva, one of the Rosh Yeshivas, sent all the students home. He told them it's going to be, the war is going to break out, and I cannot have responsibility on you guys. So go back home. Go home. Okay. Everybody went home. There was one boy, לא היה לו כסף to buy a ticket. He was poor. The family was poor. He didn't have money to buy a ticket to go home on a train. He didn't have money. So he had to walk home. How much he walked? 2 weeks he was walking home. 2 weeks. He stopped on the way, he stepped on the floor, stepped on benches, hardly no food. So when he found the shul, he went, he had some coffee. 2 weeks like this. He comes home. His mother, she didn't see him for months. She tells him, Marta, what are you doing here? He said, the Rosh Yeshiva said there's a war about to break out, and I cannot take responsibility on me. He doesn't know. He says, and what does the Rosh Yeshiva think? You're safer here? You're safer in Bet Midrash. Go back. He told her, I just walked 2 weeks. Go back. The next day, she made him go back. The next day. She didn't let him stay home. She told him, you're safer in the yeshiva over there. So she sent him home. 2 weeks again. The poor guy. I don't know, 24 hours to rest, to take maybe a cup of water, maybe something, an apple, something. He has no money. He has to go back 2 weeks. He comes back to yeshiva. The Rosh Yeshiva רואה אותו. מה אתה עושה פה? What are you doing here? He says, my mother said I cannot stay home. This is safer than home. Stick out. He told you know what? I let you stay here, but on one condition. He says what? If you sell me your shoes. those shoes that you want 2 weeks to go home and 2 weeks to come back, they're already with holes, they're already rubbed out. You know, the olden days, the ways, mazaya, hole, was sand, was full of rocks, right? They were the other, so they were Shiva. Those shoes, who was this little boy? Eliezer Man Shach, Rav Shach. And the Cutler family, till today, they have the pair of shoes that Rav Shach walked 2 weeks to come home, and his mother sent them back. The yeshiva is the safest place. You don't come home. You don't have to have Vayelekh. Learn Parashat Nitzavim. Atem Nitzavim Hayom Kolechem. Lifnei Hashem Elokechem. The yeshiva, the kollel, the Makom Torah is the safest place in the world. It's the best place to be. At the end of the day, you're going to say, Tilat Adonai Daver Pi, V'ech Kovasar Hashem Kodsho Olam Va'ed. That's the place to be. You don't turn in the world. You don't turn around. You don't go look for places. Some people, you know, they go from yeshiva to yeshiva. They go from place to place. He has to travel, right? He has to move. So some people go on the street. That's the worst part. And some people go from one place, from bar. You see why one day he prays in this Bet HaKnesset, the other day he prays in another Bet HaKnesset. What does the Gemara say? Kol hakovea makom litfilato, Elohei Avraham be'ezro. Avraham Avinu always prayed in the same place. How does the Gemara know? Because when Avraham is praying for Anshe Sdom, right, after a few hours, Olay is 50 tzaddikim, maybe there's 50 tzaddikim, maybe there's 45, maybe that. The next day, he wants to know what happened. Hashem told him, Im timtza, if you find. He didn't find. So what happened? Did Hashem destroy Sdom? וישכם אברהם בבוקר אל המקום אשר עמד שם. אשר עמד שם, he went to the same place where yesterday he did the tefillah for Anshe Sodom. Then he sees Kitor Hashan, he sees that the city was completely... But Asher Amad Sham, the Gemara is teaching us that he went to the same place, maybe he can still pray for them. באותו מקום, in the same place. אז כל הקובע מקום לתפילתו, if you קובע מקום, like Avraham Avinu, Elohei Avraham be'ezro. Hashem comes to him. Right? So to tell you, in life, you have to know to stay still. When there's no choice, like the Gemara says, that חמישה תלמידים היה לו רבן יוחנן בזקן, right? The greatest of them, Rabbi Lazar ben Arach, נכון? When Rabban Yochanan ben Zakkai passed away, what did the Talmidim do? They said, we need a rabbi, we need a teacher, we need somebody. What did they say? Let's go to Yavne. Let's go to Yavne, v'chachamea, we'll find a rabbi who's continue teaching us. On the way, Rabbi Lazar ben Arach, which Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai says, Im yiyu kol chachmei Israel, you take all the rabbis of Israel at the time, the Geonim, the Amoraim, everybody, the Tanaim, and you put them on one side of the scale, ורבי אלעזר בן ערך on the other side of the scale, מכריע את כולם. This was Rabbi Elazar ben Arach. When he gets to Dor Mesquite, he gets to the city called Dor Mesquite, what does he see? Palm trees, grass, water, waterfalls, all those things. What does he say? Oh, we should stay here. He told him, no. We're supposed to go to Yavne v'Chachamia. We're supposed to find a rabbi. Okay, between us, between 5 of us, we can learn, we can repeat the shiurim that we had from Rabbi Yochanan. They said no. 4 of them said no and continued to Yavne. He stayed there. So he found there was a community there. He found the community there. There was a community, right? But the Gemara says, with time, one Shabbat, Parashat Bo, he reads the Torah. כן, החודש הזה לשכם ראש חודשים, קרא, instead of החודש, החרש. לכם ליבם, החודש הזה לכם, אחרי שהחודש הזה, instead of הזה, היה, לכם ליבם. החרש היה ליבם. Says the Maharsha, מן השמיים, they showed him that his heart became חרש, like atum, closed up. Why? למה נשארת פה? Why did you stay here? That was the time to Vayelekh. That was the time to apply Vayelekh, not Nitzavim. He wanted to stay in one place. Yeah. But אתה צריך ללכת למקום תורה. Not over there, right? אז הנה, החודש. So in life you have to know. You have to balance. כפשוטו is בניצבים. But sometimes it's also mitzvah Vayelekh. And if you go already, לא סתם to go. If you go already, go to מקום תורה. So always look to be Makom Torah, but you cannot jump around from one month. Even if you go from Bet Midrash to Bet Midrash, it's a lot of. It's not good. Supposed to sit in one place. Sit in one place. This is Yeshuv Adat, right? The Gemara says, the Midrash says, 40 days and 40 nights Moshe Rabbeinu was in Har Sinai. How did he know when is day and when is night? There was a cloud on top of him, right? And the Torah says, 40 yom ו-40 layla lechem lo achalti u'mayim lo shatiti. Ask the Midrash, if there's a cloud on top of you, how did you know when is day and when is night? How did Moshe Rabbeinu do? There's a cloud. So there's no sun, there's no moon. He's sitting kipshuto in a cloud, you don't see nothing. Says the Midrash, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu was teaching him Torah shebichtav, yada Moshe Rabbeinu shu yom. Torah shebichtav he was teaching him by day. When he started to learn Mishnayot with him, Gemara, all those things, yada shu layla. Right? So, it says, he was standing there. Pasuk אחד אומר, ויעמוד שם עם השם 40 יום ולילה. And another pasuk says, וישב שם בהר 40 יום. Says the Midrash, when he was teaching him Torah shebichtav, היה משה רבנו עומד. He was standing. When he was teaching him Torah שבעל פה, he was sitting. Why? Torah שבעל פה needs בעיה צילותה. Means you have to be concentrated. You cannot stand when you're learning Torah שבעל פה. Why? Because the concentration comes when you're sitting down. Sometimes you're tired, so you get up just to be able to keep up, but not because you get concentration. Concentration is when you sit down, right? So this is how he knew it's day and night, right? To tell you that yeshiva b'makom echad, is a concentration. That's why you should not look to go. When you go around, you lose your concentration, okay? I'll finish off with a story, right? A real story. In Bnei Brak, there was a family. The father, unfortunately, had Alzheimer. And it was a family between the kids, the grandchildren, the great children. There was already 60 members, 60 nefashot. But the Abba Misken doesn't recognize no one. Doesn't know his sons, no one. Okay? What happened was, there was a wedding coming up. Right? So, the father doesn't know anything. And everybody was sitting down in the living room, Mishim Basalon, Kacha, and says, Kama Chaval, you know, this father, Ad Shekvar Zacha, such a big family, doesn't know anybody. Pito Mishu Omer, somebody says, you know what I heard? Yesh Kadur, there's a pill, you take it, people that have Alzheimer, in 5 hours, 5 to 6 hours, your brain goes normal. Everything comes there. You recognize, you can know everybody. And after that, you forget. So they said, let's buy it. אז אמרו, לא, זה 30,000 שקל, it's 30,000 שקל, $10,000, $10,000, מי יש לו? אז אמרו, they said, but wait, between the brothers, the cousins, we'll collect the money. Everybody gives something. Started collect, they got 30,000 shekel. They bought the pill. They said they're going to give it to the father right before the chuppah. Okay. The day of the wedding comes, he got dressed, he doesn't know what's going on, he's dressed and everything. An hour before the chuppah, like half an hour before the chuppah, something, they give him the pill. Notnim lo kadur, till it starts taking effect. Pitom, wow. Hey, Moshe, hey, Yaakov, וזה, מי זה? Oh, כן, מכיר את כולם. Recognize everybody, knows exactly everybody who is. איזה שמחה, everybody start kissing him. טוב, יאללה, חופה, they do the חופה, נכנסים לאולם, they start dancing. פתאום, אחרי איזה שעתיים of the wedding, he disappeared. He says, wow, maybe the pill stopped working. You know, those people, when they have Alzheimer's, they start wandering. They go outside, they don't know where they are. Sometimes you find them in a different city, בכלל. They don't know where they are. So everybody, they were looking for him, they couldn't find him. So the family stopped the music. They said, everybody stop. Everybody has to look for him. It's dangerous, it's the middle of the night. They go down the street in Bnei Brak, they're looking for him. Efot himself. Pitom, one of the grandchildren, out of 45 minutes, one of the grandchildren, Matzati Oto, I found him. Where is he? He says he was just in the Bet Midrash in front of the hall. What? They run to Bet Midrash, he was sitting there with the Gemara. He was sitting learning the Gemara. So he looks at them, he says, Abba, he says, yeah, Moishi, מה, אתה מכיר אותי? בטח. ואתה יעקב. So מה אתה עושה פה? What are you doing here? He told him, listen, there's 2 more hours the pill, 1 or 2 hours the pill is going to work. let me enjoy Olam Hazeh. I want to sit and learn. When the effect of the pill is going to go away, you won't be able to learn anymore. לא יכול ללמוד יותר. אז לפחות תן לי עוד שעה בעולם הזה ללמוד. בצלילות הדעת. That's what we said, the Ramak said. The Ramak says, if people realize מה זה שעה ללמוד, what it means an hour to learn, even the metim wouldn't want to see their close ones. They would want to run to Bet HaMidrash and to sit and learn. So B'ezrat Hashem, we have a chance to sit and learn. We have to appreciate and we have to use every second that we could sitting and learning and be Mekayem Parashat Nitzavim. And when sometimes we need, there's also periods of Vayelekh. There is periods Vayelekh. But basically you start with Nitzavim and then Vayelekh.